Thank y'all for tuning in. You're now tuning in to my podcast. I'm SF Johnnie, Seriously Focused Johnnie. You are tuned into Difficult People Chronicles. Today's episode is called The Message. Why are you burnt out? I started to record this before, but then I had stopped and went back to re record because I realized that this is a question that someone is asking themselves. They're extremely tired and they don't know why they're so burnt out. Like, what's happening is that they're running. And it's something that now is taking a toll on their body. So, let me get into this episode. The only way to know if this message applies to you is if you can relate, or if in the future, God forbid, you see these things starting to happen like a pattern. And in a situation where you, and when I say happen, a pattern, meaning like day one, you're tired, day two, you're tired, day three, you're tired, you get rest, four and five, but then six and seven, you still feel the same, tired. So no matter what you do, you feel burnt out. In my live stream, I touched briefly about being burnt out. So check out my live stream. It was aired on May 11th of this year. And I talked briefly about being burnt out. I gave y'all my word that I would give this message about being burnt out. So I know I did other messages about the message, the summertime fun, the message protect your energy and crack shell. This episode is giving you situations to look for that are burning you out because somebody is asking the question, why do I feel burnt out? Why am I burning out? Why I feel at peace for 5 minutes and then all of a sudden a situation happened and all of a sudden I feel drained and there's nobody in front of you. Like, nobody to drain your energy. A situation would just happen out of the blue and then you feel burnt out. Um, I want to give you reasons for the burnout and what the enemy expects to happen. And then I'm going to give you some tips. So, the burning out situation looks like this. For example, and I'm only talking about this because I understand it, when the enemy does things to make you lose a train of thought and you want to blame old age and all this other stuff or doing too much, but that's not it. I've been there before. Because sometimes the enemy, what they'll do is they'll make you forget certain things. One of the things the enemy tries to do is attack your prayer life. So if you find yourself forgetting scripture or you remember part of it and then for some reason you can't remember the other half of it, and you grew up on this scripture, like you was taught as a child, as a baby, like your mother or father taught you that scripture, and all of a sudden you can't remember it. Pray over your mind, because one of the things the enemy don't want you to do is seek God for help. They don't want you going to God because remember, they trying to take you down. Let's say something like a problem occurs at a home front, meaning your house, like an emergency where no one wants to help you solve the problem. But this emergency is annoying and it's not taking physical, meaning that you have to physically lift something or go up the steps or go across the street to the store, or it is taking a toll on your mental, and it's affecting your body. Once it starts with your mental, then it trickles down to your body where you feel drained. Another situation, say you have a child and all of a sudden the dog is missing and they're just crying, crying, crying. You got to do extra work to go look for the dog, you know. Or a situation where you're on the job and it's time to leave, and then all of a sudden your superior at the job gives you extra work, and everybody leaves and goes home, and everything in your possession, meaning documents or what have you, becomes time sensitive. And they knew it, but they dropped it on your desk. Another situation, you forget to pay your rent. You run to the bank, and there's a situation going on at the bank, like say construction or something. You can't get into the bank. Sign is up saying come back tomorrow or something. And on top of that, you go home because you feel like you get home and then you say, I could pay the bill online. But then you get home and the internet connection is not working. hmm Things start to happen one by one. And on top of that, you get no peace on the job, you get no peace at home, and your sleeping pattern is off. Why? Because everything going on, you thinking about it before you go to bed. And it's in your sleep, your dreams, like everything that's going on. The reasons why for the burnout. Whoever your enemy is cannot make you where it is a hostile takeover, make you a spiritual slave to them. So they are trying to create an environment around you where you will feel like you have a streak of bad luck, you are in darkness and you cannot see a way out, make you spiritually blind, and this just came to me, to accept defeat. So you get burnt out, you just give in. And what the enemy expects to happen is this enemy wants you to break down. Like always, it's always going to be some kind of destruction, some kind of something going on that the enemy wants. That's just, it's because it's the enemy, so it's always going to be bad. But they want you to break down. They want you to make a bad decision, a bad turn. They want to make you weak. They want you to fall into a state of despair where you need rest and cannot get it to the fullest. They will feel they can take you out or control you at that point. Remember the scripture: steal, kill, destroy. So they tried to steal from you, but you put distance between you and that person. They tried to kill you and you didn't die. And now they trying their hardest to destroy you. What came to me this morning, actually this morning, before I was ready to air the episode, is that when I woke up and was staring at the ceiling this morning, because in my head I was like, a few minutes more sleep. But something said, child, get up. And I just laid there staring at the ceiling this morning. And what came to me was that the enemy is a spoiled brat, and they want to know they can destroy you. The enemy has never seen anyone like you, and you a challenge for them. That's why they won't leave you alone. And it was so interesting because, in a sense, where yesterday I was saying to myself, I got to air this episode. I told everybody I would, and I just got to get to it. And It was funny. I was watching a TV show, and in the middle of the show, there was this detective, and he was saying something to another person, like they were in hiding from the bad guys. And the detective said, "Your enemy's always going to be your enemy." And that took me back to when my friend, who's a gang member, he said that. He said, "Your enemy is always going to be your enemy." So I felt like I needed to share that because this person thinks that they think like a lot of people where, and I thought like that too. I felt like if my enemy and I were at distance from each other, it would be out of sight, out of mind, and that's it. We good. Not we good, but I'm good. I'm good. They can leave me alone. But no, the enemy is still at it. And that's the way you got to think. You can't, people will sit there and, even in families, you have drama in households, and families will move cross country, overseas, everywhere, in the hills, mountains. You got to take a plane, car, and bike to get to them. And they think that as long as I move far away from that other person, I'm good. But if that person is into demonic activity, there's nowhere you can run, nowhere you can hide. You always gonna have to fight against your enemy. Always. So here's a tip. Try your best to turn every situation into a benefit for you. Don't cry, don't fold. For example, you can't find a dog. Here's the example. Remember the example I gave from earlier? That if, say for instance, they lost a dog or something happened with the dog where the dog ran away, can't find the dog, throw on some sweats, take your children outside and go looking for the dog. And during that time, that'll be your exercise. That way, when a day is over and the kids go to sleep, you can take your shower and be knocked out too. Another example, extra work on the job. You could speak up about what's going on, but in this day and time with a lot of jobs, it's like upper management, HR, the people on the floor, they all act the same. It's like a culture. And if you speak up and then nothing gets done, nothing happens. In the meantime, master your workload. But make sure you take time off when your body gives you the red light. Learn something new that is a benefit to you. Put on some motivational music. Remember Isaiah 54:17. No weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue which rises against you in judgment you shall condemn. In Jesus' mighty name. The goal looks like this. Even in the storm, you are determined to be at peace. Turn every situation, a situation where you are there for a reason and a season, make it into your benefit. And listen to this. The enemy is trying to make you into their benefit for them by imposing situations to occur around you to make you fold. Turn every situation into a benefit for you. So you stand in the storm and make time to do something that puts you at peace, like going for a walk or a 15-minute exercise or just sitting back listening to soothing instrumentals. Because the more you fight, the more you stand. Your enemy is going to get weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker. But they're not going to stop. They're going to have to see the face of God to stop. Because whatever you did, and even if you didn't do something, but they used to this state of mind of getting what they want, doing what they feel, moving and not caring, they used to having their way. And they can't get their way with you. Because your life is your life, not theirs. So, check me out on YouTube. Like, subscribe. Click the notification. Check out my store. Check out my, what was it? Something else. Oh, for suggested topics, email me. Email me. And if you want to sign up for a session, email me. And that's it. Have a blessed one, y'all.